Everyone, I'm Jennilynn Wyer, and welcome to Here for the Romance Books. Today, we're flipping things around, and instead of hosting the podcast, I get the pleasure of being in the hot seat. Today's guest host is Zsuzsanna Midnight Readers, my personal assistant extraordinaire, whose obsessions are romance books, heated rivalry, and tea not made in the microwave. Zsuzsanna is turning the tables on me today because I have a new release, Beautiful Forever, and a new dark romance project in the works. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Zsuzsanna now, and thank you so much for guest hosting today.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. Right, let's start with some easy questions.
Okay,
So, what
I'm
first
ready.
made you... Yes, you're ready. Good. What first made you want to become an author?
Oh goodness. So I've actually been writing
Mhm.
since I was a little girl. I was like poetry. I loved writing poetry. I got some poetry awards when like I was in junior high. Really dark stuff. So
Oh,
don't because you know me, I love my dark stuff.
yeah.
And then I started writing. I don't know if you would call it, I guess, fanfic.
Fictions?
It's
Yes.
because
Yes.
I was like obsessed with Bon Jovi, the band at the time. And yes, I know
Oh,
I'm revealing my
nice.
age about that. And so I started writing like stories. My best friend and I would write stories because she was like in love with John and I was in love with Richie. And so we would like write stories with them as the main characters and us as the FMCs. Yeah, and then after that, I was mostly, a scientist by degree, and so the stuff I was writing was research papers. But my love for romance, has always endured. I've been, I was an avid, voracious reader. I would read like 350 books a year, like one a day. And then when COVID hit, I was like, I might as well have, a lot of downtime. I don't have to work. And so I really started focusing on writing and went full time with it.
Amazing. It's great. I would love to read some of your fan fictions.
No, no, I've got like old things of it. There was actually a romance novel I started writing. Gosh, when I was in college, and I found it, and my husband tried to scan in the pages because it was an old typewriter
Yeah.
that I had. I hated computers. I wouldn't use computers for some reason. It took me forever to start using a computer. Um, it's just I loved doing things by hand, but this one I did on a typewriter. And so it was about I've got that thick printed out, and my husband tried
Wow.
to scan them in. And so I've been wondering if I should like do something with that or like make it like a little free novella kind of thing,
Oh my
like a
God, that
reader
sounds
magnet. But yeah, no, I was like, oh.
great. I would love to read that. Great. All right, next question. You write across several genres. You write small town romance, dark reverse harem, dark mafia, and YA as well. So, what draws you to such different styles of romances?
Um, So small town is because that's what I know. I'm a small town girl.
Yeah.
Grew up in I wouldn't say country, it was suburbia, but like my whole family was country.
Mm.
It's they lived in the outskirts and the it was just very familiar to me to write that. I knew people who were farmers.
Mm.
And so like that type of suburbia and rural,
Mm.
kind of story and settings is what that's where Fallen Brook came from. It's a very
Yeah.
small town, a very, tight-knit group of people and friends. And then everything I write, I create a fictional town in my home state of North Carolina. And I love the beach. So, like beach settings, I have my characters going to like Topsail or Wilmington. And then, like my Wanderlost, it's set in a fictional town in the mountains because I went to college for a while in Asheville before, I transferred to UNC, Chapel Hill. Um, and then dark romance came about because I really love darker
Mm.
things. Um, and I wanted to. kind of explore that darker side of my writing because, like I said, in junior high, I wrote very dark poetry.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Oh my gosh, I loved it. So my first dark series was a Savage Kingdom series. Savage Princess was the first one. And oh boy, it was a lot of fun to do that. And then my YA actually came about from my readers. While I was, writing and releasing the Fallen Brooks series, I had a lot of readers contact me and they're like, "We love these characters so much, and I have a teenage daughter,
Yeah.
and I really want them to be able to read these books because they're such, we love the characters so much." But they couldn't because it's steamy romance with, open door scenes. And I was like, I'll do that for you. And, I always tell everyone, I love my readers and this is why. And it's because a lot of my books have come about because my readers have said, we really want this.
Mhm.
And so I reimagined the Fallen Brook series as a YA series. So it's a 4-book series. And it kind of follows the same plot line and story arc as the adult series, but it's a completely different story. So some of the roles the characters, did, they're different. I took things off in a different way just because I was having a lot of fun with it. And then after that, I just decided I needed like palette cleansers, particularly after I wrote really dark
Yeah.
books. And so I think when I finished Savage Princess, I needed a palate cleanser and I wanted something sweet and funny. And so I decided to start under another pen name, start writing the sweet rom-coms.
Yes.
And so I keep those under a different pen name to keep them separate from, Jennilynn Wyer, adult, steamy, spicy, dark
Makes
stuff. So yeah.
sense. Yes. So if a reader is discovering your books for the first time, which one would they should they start with and why?
Ooh, good question. It really depends on what you're in the mood for. If you want, you know, a heartstring puller with this epic love story, start with All Our Next Times, which is book 1 of Fallen Brook series. If you're in the mood for like dark and spicy, enemies to lovers, but it's wide shoes, because I love, writing wide shoes where the woman doesn't have to choose. She gets all the hot guys. Savage Princess and Beautiful Sin are the first books in each of those series. And I consider those must reads. They're also my award winners.
Yes,
So I love that readers really, you know, enjoyed those stories as much as I enjoyed writing them.
amazing. Um, okay, we can cut what's coming next. Okay, let's talk about writing process and inspiration. Where do you usually find your inspiration for your stories?
My life, actually. I when people ask me that question, I'm like, I always give you glimpses into my life when you read every single one of my books. Every single book I've written, I have instilled something from my personal experiences into that book. Elizabeth from Fallen Brook has a lot of me in her.
Yeah.
Um, what happens to Aurora and that girl was based off of what happened to me.
Oh,
What happened to Harper and Wanderlust was based on
okay.
what happened to me. So you can see the thing.
Yeah.
And so I always give, things that I've experienced.
Mhm.
They're not pretty.
Yeah.
I've had a very, yeah, kind of, I've gone through a lot in my
Yeah.
life, and the reason I like to include
Mhm.
these, more, I guess, darker themes, is because I want someone who's been, I want to connect with my readers who have been through the same thing and let them know you're not alone. I went through this,
Yeah.
too. So yeah, that's
That makes a
if
lot of
if you want to know if you want to know me, read my books.
that makes a lot of sense, and it makes it especially why are they so emotional to read it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I put my emotions. in it. And,
Yeah.
and so when people, it's so funny because I know that there are certain things that will make my readers cry because I bawl my eyes out when I'm writing
Yeah.
it. But then there are other things, other stories to where I get feedback going, this made me cry so much. I was like, really? It's like, why did you cry? I don't get it, huh? So yeah, I guess I always tell people I'm a One Tree Hill, Dawson's Creek girl. I grew up on that angst. And so I love angst. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I do. And that's, what
Yeah.
I write as well.
And you write it well. That's good. So do you usually plot out the stories or you just go with the flow?
Okay, I'm a total pantser.
Okay.
The only things I don't even consider this plotting, but I usually think about what I want the characters to look like, where they're
Mhm.
from, their characteristics, their like traits and quirks, if they have like a phobia or, things like that, I'll write down. And then kind of like if I'm creating a fictional town for that, because I love creating fictional places because I get to put what I want in the
Yes.
story instead of relying on a real place that maybe not have what I want in the setting. Um, and then after that, I just start writing whatever comes to my head. A lot of times the characters take over. I don't understand how people say that doesn't happen. It does.
Okay.
It's who was I talking to? I think it was MJ Marino
Mhm.
when I spoke with her. I kept hearing Fallon go, hey kitten," when I was writing the Fall Brick series. He wasn't even supposed to be a character. He was like this side person, and
Yeah.
he kept talking to me and haunting me. And so then he became like one of the main MMCs, and I'm glad that he did because he's like the favorite of everybody.
Oh, yes,
And
definitely.
that's what happens. So the characters just kind of tell me what they want to do, and my brain follows them when I'm
Amazing.
writing.
So my next question is, yeah, but sort of related to this one, and I think you kind of answered it already. Like, do your characters tend to take control of the story, or do you keep them on a tight leash?
Oh
But
no,
I'm
they
assuming
mutiny. They
background,
mutiny
you
all the time. Yeah, no.
yeah. Okay.
They mutiny and chase after me with pitchforks. So
All right, let's move over to tropes and romance themes. Which romance tropes are your favorite to write?
ooh, okay. Um, I love one when I'm writing small town. Okay, so across the board, small town or dark, enemies to lovers, love
Mhm.
it. It's
Yeah.
because you get that really good banter
Yes.
that you can write, and I love that. And I love the tension that you can build. That they hate each other at first, and then you've got that delicious tension going through the book until they finally realize, oh, this person, you know,
Quite okay.
I like this person. I don't hate this person. I like this
Yeah.
person. Um, Second chance romance for my small town. I love second chance. And I don't know whether that has something to do with my husband. I don't consider us a second chance, but like we met and we were friends first, and then he lived over the ocean in England, and I was, here in the States, and we kind of stayed in touch,
Mhm.
over like 5 years. And then like I went to visit England and we met up, and it was just like boom,
Yeah.
that long distance kind of casual, hey, we reached out to each other every New Year's Eve just to say Happy New Year kind of thing. Um, and then it was just like boom,
Yeah.
and I was like, he's mine. He's mine. I'm marrying that man. I'm not letting him go. But no, I love second chance where you fall in love with someone when you're young.
Yeah.
And then of course, as you grow, as you get older, you grow. You don't like the same things or you want different things, but then you reconnect,
Yes.
later in life, and and the love is like sweeter and more profound because you let yourself, the two of you grew
Yeah.
into, these adult people.
Yeah.
I love that. And then dark.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, my small town has some dark elements in it,
Oh,
like
definitely.
the
Yes,
end
quite
of All Our Next
quite a lot.
Times and
Yes.
yeah, the stuff that happens. But my dark white shoes, I just love letting that part of me come
Mm,
out.
yeah.
Because I grew
Absolutely.
up like a Nora Roberts and Linda Howard romantic suspense. And so
Mhm.
I just, and then to make it dark, love it. Love it so much. That's just what gets me going.
Yes. Yeah, I like dark as well. Are there
Mhm.
any tropes you haven't written yet, but would you like to maybe in the future?
Oh goodness. So I try to touch on things, tropes, within my main genre. So like with the new Ruthless Titan series that I'm working on, I've never explored stepbrother, I've never explored age gap. And so those two things I'm kind of interweaving. And there was something I was thinking about doing romanticy.
Yes.
And so I started writing, so I wrote a romantasy called Seraphim Rising. I entered it into a contest, a writing contest, and it won. And then I had to think, okay, do I really want to go this direction? And it took me a while
Hmm.
for me to decide that I'm going to have to shelve that for a bit because romantasy, it's its own, I call it, I say it has its own demon when it
Yes,
comes to writing because
definitely.
you really have to focus on the world building. And I just didn't want to spend all that time doing
Mm,
that because it's immersive, you have to be descriptive, you have to, I mean, this whole other
yeah.
universe you have to create. And so I decided to continue on my dark white shoes path. And so instead of doing the romantasy, I did that. I'm hoping to get to it
Yes.
one day and publish it, but just not yet.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Mhm.
I'm trying to think of any other tropes that I would like to write because I really do hit most of the
You do,
tropes. Hockey. I
yeah.
don't think I'm ever going to do hockey.
No, not for you.
No, I mean, I know that that's like a really hot trope right now.
Tried it for me.
Yes, I know. And everybody's like so, so in love with hockey, but because it is not my wheelhouse, I'm not even going to venture there because I'm probably sound like an idiot if I tried to write it.
I know.
So, no, football, baseball, tennis,
Yeah.
any other sport, hockey's a no.
I mean, you could start watching hockey and make some notes.
I know, but it's like I'm not interested in hockey.
Fair enough. I will watch it
Sorry.
for you. That's fine. Um, so do you prefer writing slow burn or instant chemistry?
Neither.
Line. Okay.
Neither. So slow burn. So RG Angel and I talked about this in our chat in the last podcast. The slow burn aspect is really, really subjective
Uh-huh.
because she kept saying how, her books are considered slow burn because she doesn't have like an intimate scene until like 50%. And I'm like, I don't consider that slow burn because that's usually where I have my first intimate
Yeah.
scene. And my romances are across the board considered steamy or spicy.
Yes.
And I think it's how you describe those intimate scenes that makes it steamy or spicy. Because like for Savage Princess, n- there's a lot of or Beautiful Sin, there's a lot of character building
Yeah.
and relationship building you need to do first. And not to pan the insta love authors because I totally will read an insta love, but it's not what I write. I want to build the relationship. I want to build that tension. I want to build that steam so that when something finally does happen between them, it means something and
Yeah.
it's explosive in a way,
Exactly.
that readers will go, yes.
But the fireworks. Yes, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay, let's talk about your dark romance and reverse harem books.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
yeah, the best ones. So dark romance has been exploded in popularity over the last few years.
Mm.
Um, what do you think readers love most about it? Why do they search for these books?
Oh, goodness. So you have two sides of the coin for dark romance. You have the dark romance where the I consider the FMC is kind of like a doormat,
Hmm.
and she's very controlled by the
Yeah.
male, by the male protagonists and things like that. And then you have the other type of dark to where you have a very strong FMC who can stand toe to toe with the
Yes.
men. Um, the the doormat one, I don't like it all. And that's just a personal preference because I am such a very type A, opinionated, girl power,
Yeah.
I can do anything you can do kind of thing because I grew up a tomboy. And so I was always, doing what the boys were doing. Um, and so all of my books, I want to have really strong female characters, but they also have that softness as
Yes.
well. So, and they're also flawed. So, just because they are as mentally strong and physically strong, because my
Yeah.
my women will kick your butt.
They will.
That doesn't mean that they're not human.
Yes.
And that's what I like. And that's what I want dark romances to be. Because I want to represent women in my books. You know,
Yes.
it's just very important to me, and that's one of the reasons why I started writing like Savage Princess is because when I was reading dark romances, it was always damsel in distress,
Yeah.
or she just kind of let the guy do whatever, and is no, no, not for me, no.
Not gonna let it happen. So the next question is kind of follow-up. When you're writing darker themes, how do you balance intensity with emotional connection?
I really don't know how I do that. I just know that I do.
Yes.
And it's because I love writing emotional stuff. And so it's just very easy for me to put that emotion and that angst in along with the kind of darker tones that you expect in a dark romance. It just comes naturally to me to do it. So, and I like doing it because you know, like I said, I love incorporating that angst in things and showing people's emotions. I want when you read one of my books, as you're reading it, I want it to become a movie in your head.
Mhm.
So I don't say, I don't like saying this is this and that is that and da da da. I use a lot of, descriptions so that you can picture things or how the character is feeling,
Yes.
because I want it to play like a movie. I want it to be cinematic when things
Yes.
happen. Yeah.
Great. So why choose stories have quite a unique dynamics? What do you enjoy most about writing multiple love interests?
Oh, um, so it's always one FMC, and three or four MMC love interests, and I I like how I can get how each guy kind of fills or completes something for the female protagonist. So she may get tenderness from one guy, and then she'll get strength from another, and then the other guy may, you know, she can feel like more relaxed and be wild, and
Yeah.
so I just like how you can play off of the different male characters
Yes.
and the relationships and it kind of but when they all come together it makes sense because
Yeah.
there's like such a close bond. I always have a very close bond for some reason or another between the men so that it
Yeah.
makes sense that they could fall in love with the same woman and then
Yes.
for that to be a core relationship group. And I do try to show that there are sacrifices and compromises that they have to do to make the relationship work. So I try to make it realistic as well. But no, I don't know. It's just what woman wouldn't want,
I
you
know,
know,
exactly. So what about the
these
guys?
like really hot guys and just have all of them, be your man, be your forever man. So
Yeah, you know what? I love I choose romances, but I always think about the laundry, the cooking, the cleaning.
Mhm.
Just there's a lot of the four guys.
Yeah, well, I love putting like cooking scenes.
Yes,
And
yeah, that's
yeah,
quite
and
true.
my thing, or like waking up in the morning and everybody's trying to do their
Breakfast.
routine. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I try to make it realistic.
Yes. Yeah. So do you have a favorite morally gray character from one of your series, darker series?
Oh
So who's
gosh,
your
from one
favorite?
of my series, girl,
Yes. You have to choose one.
I can choose one. You no, no, I'm a why choose writer. You cannot make me choose one. Um, Fallon from Fallon Brook. So he is morally gray, but oh my God, he is.
Yeah.
Um, Constantine from Beautiful
Obviously.
Sin.
Yeah, he's quiet. We love our quiet boys.
Jax
Oh,
from Savage, um, Princess Savage Kings. And then from my new dark series that I'm writing, I don't know yet
yeah. Okay. We don't know that.
because I'm still, flushing them out as I'm writing. I don't know. So I haven't done the character introductions yet, so I'm gonna wait because I'm gonna do like this big character reveal thing soon. So I'm not gonna give away any spoilers yet.
Okay. Well, now that you
Mm.
mentioned it, let's move on to your Ruthless Titan series.
Okay.
Well, tell us about this new series. What can we expect?
Okay, so when I finally decided not to drive down the Romanticy road, um, I was thinking, okay, well, do I want to do another small town or do I want to another dark? I decided on another dark. That's how Ruthless Titans, which is the series name, came about. Book one is Twisted Vow, book two is Cruel Desire, and book three is Ruthless Love. And I was thinking, okay, because I I did a lot with my other two dark series. I mean, I hit you with everything,
Yeah.
all the good cliffhangers, you could possibly think of. And so I was thinking, okay, if I want to do another dark, how do I want to do it? And I was like, okay, I kind of want to go back to my roots
Hmm.
of the Savage series because that was Dark Enemies to Lovers Mafia. So Ruthless Titans is also Dark Enemies to Lovers Mafia, but they're stepbrothers. I mean,
Hmm.
she doesn't know them. I don't want creepy stepbrother, because I don't like stepbrother romance to where the stepbrother and the female protagonist kind of live in the house together and kind of grow up knowing each other. No, that's not for me. So they've never met, but her mother marries this, man, and then the three guys are his sons. They're older adults. It's a little age gapish, because the older brother is 10 years older than her, but then you've got the middle brother and the younger brother, which are closer to, her age. The older brother also has a son, just from his high school sweetheart. So he was a young dad when he had his son. So I threw in some stepbrother. I threw in a little age gap, not creepy, but a little bit. And then I threw in the single dad
Yes.
trope because those were three that I hadn't explored in my other dark romances. Um, and then, oh goodness, so it's mafia, and then I've got the story. So I didn't want to hit readers with a lot of, WTF
Hmm.
cliffhanger twists.
Yeah.
But I did want there to be some things that you have to guess about. And so I can't really tell you what they are without giving
Yes.
spoilers. But the book opens where she finds out that so the main FMC, there's a backstory to her, and her backstory is how I connect this series to Savage and Beautiful Sin
Okay.
series. Because if you've read those two series, there is a boarding school in Switzerland that a lot of the characters go to. She went to that. And so then I'm going to have a few characters kind of pop up from the other series and side plots. Yeah, so it's been challenging to write. I'm taking it slow,
Yeah.
and I do have something happened recently that I'm dying to tell my readers about, but I can't because it has not been announced, but it has to do with this new series. And so, when I'm able to tell it and
Yes.
share this good news, because my readers are going to love the news.
Yeah.
As soon as I get the go ahead, I will post it all over my socials. But I'm really excited about it.
Yes. Yeah, me too. So without any spoilers, can you tell us more about the brothers?
Um,
Or it's too
okay.
much
No,
spoiler?
I'll go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Screw the character reveal. Uh, the older brother is Trent. He's because he's older and he's a single dad, so he had his son when he was 17.
Okay.
Um, and the son is now a teenager. And so Trent's going to be your like controlling boss hole. He's like next in line, he has a lot of responsibility on him, and so he's kind of very controlled and strict. And the female character, her name is Madeline, but it's spelled the Irish way. I'm part Irish, and all of my books have to have an Irish American character in them. Um, and so I call her Maddie for short. And there's a lot of depth to her. She has gone through trauma. And trauma is something that I include with a lot of my FNCs because of the stuff that I went through. And like I
Yeah.
said, I basically writing things that I went through can also be therapeutic for me because I get them out on paper. And so
Yes.
so she is strong. I mean, mentally, the stuff
Mhm.
that she's been through and survived, she's very strong. So it's going to get slowly revealed what happened to her. Um, she's informed that her mother has passed away. She and her mother did not get along.
Okay.
Basically, her father was the head of another mafia
Mhm.
syndicate, and he gets murdered when Maddie is very young. And then her mother just ships her off to that boarding school in Switzerland and like forgets about her.
Okay.
And so there's a reason why, but
Okay.
I can't tell you. So she finds out her mother is dead. She, oh goodness, you're gonna make me give away all the spoilers. Um, there's a reason why she comes back to the States, because she's been living overseas because she never wanted to come back. There's a reason, not for her mother's funeral, but there's another reason she comes back.
Okay.
And this is how she gets involved with her three stepbrothers. Trent, Lucas is the middle, Sawyer is the youngest. Lucas is like, oh goodness, he's kind of like Liam from
Okay.
Savage.
Huh.
Sawyer is, I would say he's more like Hendrix Knight from Beautiful
Nice. We
Sin.
always have a troublemaker.
Yeah, so you've got to have the straight lace. You've got to have like the Lucas could be like Constantine as well. So you
Okay.
have the dangerous guy, but with the soft heart. And then, of course, you have to have the misunderstood kind of bad boy.
Yes.
And so Sawyer is like Hendrix Knight in that way. And then there's Nick.
Oh,
And so I mentioned him, and like I said, characters mutiny and they kind of take over. So I kind of mentioned him. at the beginning in chapter one, and he just kept going, I'm part of this group. You're going to make me part of this group.
Aw.
Write me in here. And so I had to come up with how he was part of this group. And so he's the guy's best friend.
Okay.
Um, and so you have Nick as well. So I made it four instead of three
Nice.
because I love to make things more complicated for myself. Yeah, and then after that, I really can't tell you anything else
Okay.
about the storyline. So yeah,
Well,
it's
it's
kind of like a wait and see and read it.
yeah, well, I'm excited to read it. So, is it going to be your darkest yet, or where is it on the scale of darkness?
Um, Honestly, with the stuff that Sin does in Beautiful Sin, I think that's probably gonna my darkest. I mean,
Okay.
because yeah, you know which scenes I'm talking about. I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
she gets
Yeah.
dark. So it's not going to be that dark. And then I don't know, Savage Andy, the stuff that she went through when she was young,
Hmm.
that to me was dark.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
would probably say this one is similar to Savage,
Okay. Same bit.
but without that really, really dark trauma that the FMC goes through.
Okay. Got it. And can we talk about release date?
So right now I have the first book, Twisted Vow, set to release. I think it's January 7th or 9th.
Okay.
But that's kind of a placeholder.
Hmm.
I haven't decided yet. I'm probably going to keep it to be January because the December releases are all about the holiday romances, which this is not. And so I'll probably keep it that way. And also because of the thing that I can't reveal yet,
Yes.
I may have to stick with that because I have to coordinate that release date with something
Something
else.
else. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, thank you.
Mm.
Let's talk about publishing and author life a little bit.
Okay.
What has been the biggest challenge in your publishing journey so
Marketing,
far? Okay.
marketing, marketing. I think that's the answer to whatever follow-up question you have. Marketing. Yeah. So for an indie author has to wear every hat in the book.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't write. I probably spend 5 to 10% of my week actually writing.
Yes.
The bulk of it is the social media
Yeah.
stuff that you have to do to market your books. I used to do a lot of like Facebook ads and things like that, and I just found like that was like a money suck
Yeah.
from me, and so I stopped doing it. And I never got on the TikTok bandwagon. I think I missed the boat on that because that was like really big a couple of years ago. And at that point, I really wasn't very, I didn't show myself a lot because I'm kind of like an introvert and I'm really shy and I'm trying to be better about that, which I think I'm doing good baby steps.
Very good.
Yeah. But I was like really shy. I was a complete introvert. I didn't want to show my face on camera. And so the big boom of book talk, I feel like I'm not even able to catch the caboose on that train. And so I've kind of really not done anything with that. And I focus, mostly on social media graphics, pretty pictures, things like that. Goodness, but just trying the different avenues in order to get your book out there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is so hard for an indie author. Because the whole thing is this, money greases the wheel, and if you've got it, you're able to do more things. But a lot of indie authors, they can't, after paying for a proofreader and an editor and a cover designer and getting your book formatted, and then, usually you have to, if you even want a shot at getting your book seen, you have to hire a PR company to do a book tour and things like that. I mean, and it just, a lot of authors never even make back the money.
No, it's a
If you
yeah.
want an audiobook, holy cow, the cost of, getting your books made into audiobooks is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's trying to figure out that marketing thing in order to reach new readers. Because as soon as you figure it out, whatever platform you're on, the algorithm changes and you have to relearn everything all over again. And it's just mentally exhausting. Oh my gosh.
Yes. So do you have any advice for new authors who are just trying out and starting their journey?
Oh goodness. Okay. So for new authors, it depends. I guess, can we split it into different things? So like writing,
Yes.
publishing, marketing.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so writing, don't use AI.
No, of
Just,
course.
just don't.
Should be the
I
number
mean, I know
one
it's
rule.
tempting. I know it's tempting to do, but just don't do it. AI is AI because it learned from us. It,
Yes.
it took our pirated books
Yeah.
and it learned how to write from
Yeah.
authors.
Yeah.
And not just romance, just authors and creators across the board. This also pertains to, when you want to make cute little movies,
Yeah.
or if you want to make, a graphic. It's taking things that it does not own. It is, anyway, that's a whole other question. So don't use AI to write your book. Take your time. Um, One thing I was always told in the beginning, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
If you're not feeling it, that is okay.
Yeah.
I had to learn that the hard way. I came very close to burnout,
Mhm.
and I had to force myself and teach myself that it is okay to take a break. If I write a sentence and that's all I'm feeling for that day, that's
That's
fine.
yeah.
I'm going to be happy with that sentence, whether, it's a 2-word sentence or a 5-word. I'm happy with that, and then I will come back to it tomorrow. So don't force yourself when you're not feeling it. Um, when you finish your book, um, I would say beta readers, but a lot of new authors, they can't find that support network. But a lot of programs like Word, they have read aloud.
Hmm.
Listen to your book.
Yeah.
Listen to it. You're going to catch so many things. Instead of reading your book, because I used to like put my book on a tablet so that
Mhm.
I could read it like an ebook,
Yeah.
and you still miss stuff. I
Hmm.
mean, no matter how many eyes you're going to get on your book through beta readers or proofreaders or editors, or you
Yeah.
rereading it over and over again, something is always going to slip through.
Yes.
But if you listen to it being read out loud to you, like with Read Aloud and Word, you catch so many things.
A great tip.
And so
Yeah.
always listen to what you've written to catch those weird sounding sentences, or, a lot of times you don't put a to or a the or a, an, in front of a
Yeah.
word, and you don't realize it. And if you can and are able to, definitely hire a proofreader or copy editor to
Yeah.
go through your book to make it as polished as possible.
Yeah.
Um, and then for marketing for new authors, there are so many free ways to
Mhm.
market your book. Um, Instagram has been good. I know engagement is down a lot on Instagram. I mean, stuff just, it
Stuff like
fluctuates.
that. Yeah.
But also, with TikTok, if Canva, there's a free version of Canva that you can create graphics and, your little slide reels or
Yeah.
carousels, or, little MP4 videos that you can put on TikTok. Utilize the free things. Um, if you can't afford Photoshop, Canva has got a free Photoshop-like.
Yes.
Um, it's
Affinity.
called Affinity.
Yeah.
You can also get a free website through Canva if you use their like .my.canva.site, but you can like make, the first part. So I did that for my cover design
Yeah.
because I didn't want to renew the domain because it was getting too expensive. And so I now have a free Canva website called Jennilynn Wyer Designs.my.canva.site. It's completely free.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so try to utilize those things, and then push them on the socials that you can, and that's all free advertising. Yeah.
Great. Let's do some quick rounds for fun.
Okay.
Favorite romance trope? You can say one.
Famous romance trope. Um,
Favorite romance trope.
I don't like you.
You can choose
You
one.
can't make me choose.
Yes.
Mm, I love all of them. Okay. Second chance.
Yeah,
Like a
good.
smidgen, but like a smidgen.
Coffee or tea?
You know me. I have to have 2 cups of coffee before I even start typing on the computer every morning, and then I have to have 2 more cups around lunch.
In one word, how would you describe your writing style?
Cinematic.
Oh, I like
Mm.
that. Great. Shall we do closing questions?
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, let's do. Uh, so along with being an author, you also do cover designs, as you mentioned it before. And you started this podcast as well this year. So how did you come up with these ideas?
Goodness. Okay, so I started. No, it's because I don't have enough to do, and I
Yeah.
say that with a big eye roll because I am so busy. I work, and I'm not lying. Literally, I work 24/7, so 7 days a week. I start working at 6 in the morning. I do not take holidays off. I do not take vacations. I'm working every day
Yeah.
because, I wake up and then that's my time to be productive. And so I just always start working. The cover design, Jennilynn Wyer Designs.
Yeah.
I've been a graphic designer since college.
Okay.
Um, and so I did most of my book covers
Mhm.
myself when I started out. Um, and then my author friends, they kept complaining about like their book cover designer like ghosted them or took their money. That
Mhm.
happened to me. The
Yeah.
time that, I decided to hire a cover designer to do a book, had me pay her up front
Hmm.
and then completely ghosted me, never delivered a product.
Yeah.
So I got burned. My author
Hmm.
friends were having the same experience with that. And
Hmm.
I was like, you know what? I can do this,
Yeah.
and I can offer very cheap rates because I'm not going to do it for the money.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it to, provide help to my fellow indie authors. And so that's how I started Jennilynn Wyer Designs, book cover designs and graphic designs. Yeah, and I think I'm at 2 years now of doing that, and it took off. So
Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun with that. I've gotten to unleash my creative side.
Yeah.
I had to stop doing custom drawn illustrations because they just take way too long
Yeah.
to do. And so I don't do the custom illustrations before, but if you want a cover model, discreet, illustrated, if I can find a stock illustration for it, I'm your girl. Unlimited edit, so I wanted to treat other authors the way I wanted to be treated. And so, offer this big, graphics package with every cover design. I do unlimited edits, so you can like bug the heck out of me for, months and, change things a million times. I don't like it sometimes because, it can be a little much, but, that's what I want as an author.
Yeah.
I don't want you to say, okay, well, I've made this edit. Now you have to pay me this extra money to make another edit.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that all came about because of my author friends. This podcast here for the romance books um, came about at the end of last year because last year, across the board, not just for me, but for every author I know and the entire book community, it was a dumpster fire. It just was. It was a horrible year for everyone all around. There's so much negativity, so much toxicity. Um, just it seemed like everything that went viral was something that was mean,
Yeah, or negative.
just and I got frustrated with it. I got disappointed with it. I felt like last year the book community was not the community that I knew from when I started out when I first published in 2020.
Yeah.
From like 2020 to 2023, I felt like there was such a good support system. Like authors were supporting authors, and you know, and so I wanted to bring back the positivity. I want to show that as authors, we need to support each other in our space. We need to lift each other up, and don't ever compare yourself to another author.
Of course not.
And I think that's where a lot of the problems are in the authorhood. And so I wanted to show, hey, I'm an author. I'm going to show that you can support other authors. You can lift those other authors. You
Yeah.
can, just bring back the happiness. I wanted the
Other.
happiness back. And so that's
No.
why I started the podcast series. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great idea. I miss that as well. I think the book community is just very negative at the moment,
Yeah.
extremely negative, and it would be great to bring the happiness back, the joy
Yes.
of reading and supporting each other and having fun.
Yes, I know. And that's what I want. I want things to be fun again.
Yeah.
I miss it. And a lot of authors that I started out with um, got burned out and they're no longer writing or publishing. And I miss them so much. I hate that it got to be the point where a lot of authors just decided they're like, I can't anymore.
Yeah, it's very sad.
I
It's
know,
very,
it
very,
makes me so sad.
I know.
So,
Yeah. Anyway, so where can the listeners find your books and you on socials? Where can they connect with you?
oh goodness. All of my books right now are on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. My audiobooks, though, are wide. So you can find my audiobooks anywhere, including public libraries and places like, oh goodness, like Apple, Google Play. I mean, they're everywhere. So my audiobooks are wide. My ebooks will soon be in public libraries. My YA books are there right now,
Mhm.
um, along with my audiobooks. And then I'm going to get the rest of my backlist into libraries pretty soon. That's something that I'm working on because I have to reformat the ebooks and everything. So I've been busy doing that. Um, and then my socials, I'm basically everywhere.
Yeah.
It's because as an author, we're required to be on 10 million different social
Yeah.
platforms. So, I'm what, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Facebook. I used to be on Verb, but I think they shut down.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
goodness,
think
I'm everywhere. I think the only place I'm not at is Lemonade and WhatsApp
yeah.
or Discord.
Yeah,
I
you're not
don't
on
I
this.
don't do those three. There's only so much time in a day I have.
Right.
you know? So I try to be everywhere. Sometimes I can't be because it's just too much.
Yeah, yeah. So is there anything exciting coming up? Well, you mentioned it that there's something exciting coming up, but you can't talk about it. But anything else readers should watch out for?
Oh goodness. Yeah, yeah. So I have I was briefly a hybrid author. I signed with a publisher at the end of 2024. Um, and then they acquired my Fallen Brook series, which was the first series I ever published. And then I wrote a new book for that series, a brand new book that got released last year. I have left the publisher and I have my rights back.
Yes.
And I am so excited to re-release everything under my publishing name. I redesigned all the covers. They are gorgeous. I can't
Yes,
wait.
they are.
And because I redesigned those covers, I've redesigned all the Montgomery standalone covers because they're interconnected with
Yeah.
the Fallen Brook world, because I wanted everything to be cohesive. And so The Fallen Brook series is going to be re-released starting in May, and I'm super excited about that because I absolutely love that series. That's like my, the that's my unicorn. I call it my
Yeah.
unicorn. And then I'm currently working on my Ruthless Titans. Um, and I'm trying to think. I had planned for this year to be my year off. It didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
I'm gonna go, that didn't happen. So I'm like super busy. Uh, I've got, cover design jobs lined up. I've got more podcasts. So every month I'm doing at least 2 to 3 different podcasts. So, everybody keep watching because, we've
Yeah.
got more authors coming, very, some exciting authors I'm looking forward to interviewing. Oh, goodness. And then the big announcement. And then for 2027, we'll just see what happens
Yeah.
after, the Ruthless Titan series starts releasing,
Yeah.
as I start releasing each book. So I'm still going to try to get those box sets out. That was my plan for this year. For my year
Yeah.
off, I was going to release my box sets. Not happening because of all this other stuff. So,
That's
maybe
all right.
next year will be the year of box sets. I don't know.
We will see. Great. Well, that was my last question. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, no,
No?
I will close everything up. So I'm going to say thank you so much for being my guest host today. And then all of my books and my websites, I will provide like I do for, every author that I interview. It'll be down in the description box below. And until next time, happy reading.